another thing that you
really
have done. And so the fellow name was Fritz. He was the general manager of the Eldorado Shore and Yacht Club in New Rochelle in America. And he said to me, and he's German, I mean originally was born in Germany, and he said to me, he said, in English he said to me, and he had a really raspy voice, he said, America, gold on the streets.
Gold on the streets.
He said, anytime when I come, I say, I have a job for you, $125 a week, a house and a car. Now at that time, $125 was about 40 English pounds, and the top chef maybe made 35 pounds. I said, gold on the streets. So I went to the consulate and applied for my immigration visa, and they looked me over, what's it called, and I had a little scotch in the test tube with the guy there, and it looked okay. And 3 months later, I got my immigration visa. 3 months later, unheard of at the time. And so I got it, so I went home, said to my mother, I'm going to America. I said, what do you mean? I said, Mother, I'll be back in a year, I'll be a millionaire. Gold in the streets. Well, I took the immigration flight from London to Boston, to Shannon in Ireland, from Shannon to Boston, from Boston to New York. The $125 was $95 after taxes. The house was an old shack in the back where the mosquitoes came down like the kamikazes. And the roaches were walking with a goose step right for the whole thing. The car was an old Shilatsu, the brake worked, the whole thing, you couldn't take it off the thing. But I started and I kind of liked it there, staying a CSR. And so when the season was over, Philip Fleece got me a job at Julie's Kosher Catering in New York City at the Hotel Royale on 72nd Street. And I got the privilege to learn kosher cuisine from the ground up. And again, what kosher means really is the kashrut. And again, here becomes anything in food really had something to do with religion. In the old days and even then, Moses came down and brought the kashrut, the law how to eat. That was a really sanitation law.
Sure.
Because
for life in the desert.
It's right how you can eat the whole thing. What's it called? Muhammad brought down another one, which became the sanitation of the Muslims. What's it called? And so when you look at all the religions, Buddha, and they all brought from above the way how to live. So in many ways, religion has a very important part. So the kashrut, really you can cook anything with the law. You cannot mix dairy with meat, and you have to have parve, like eggs are parve, and certain things which you can mix. You have different parts to the whole thing. I became so fascinated with it, I started to study it and became an expert in kosher cuisine. And then, make a story short to see what my career is. Arnold Schmidt, which is another mentor of mine, no one knows him too, he was the executive chef of the Sheraton in New York City, the Sheraton Morning, and my friend Karl Heinz overslept and was afraid to go back because he was an Austrian, very tough. He said, well, there's something for you. And so, I was pretty much settled to learn nothing anymore at Julie's place. The reason was he never paid you. And he always said, I take care of you. Until one day he gave me a check and I went to the bank, and no bank would cash it because I had no account there. So I went back, there's a policeman outside the Julie's catering, and I said, come with me, there's going to be a murder. And of course then they have the little sticks which behind the whole thing. And he came with me and Julie saw the guy, and he gave me cash. See, and so the policeman said, where's the murder? I said, we just prevented it. So anyway, our profession has serious sides, but also funny sides. And all seriousness becomes funny when time goes by. And so I went down there and he had 12 cases of beer in the office. And at that time, by union, everybody got 2 beers a day. And I said, that's my job, beer. And so he hired me, and I stayed at the Sheraton, and then when he left, he became the chef there. And I was 8 years the chef, I think. And by the way, I have to say also one thing. In '61, when I came to the United States, Noble came bear me out there. if you weren't French, you couldn't get an executive position, nowhere in New York City.
Hmm.
All the top positions were French. You know, it doesn't matter what.
I didn't recognize the German,
Forget about only the French.
the whole German school
Any
of
other
thought.
nationality.
Only the French. The sous chefs were all Swiss. The rest was us. The other immigrants, so to speak.
Mhm.
American chef didn't exist.
Didn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's it called? It was between the American Culinary Federation and the CIA, I have to say this, and Washburn, which is another school in Chicago, that we built an American-born, American-trained chef,
Yes.
which today, what's it called, is worldwide recognized.
But it came from European roots.
But everything came from European roots. When the first immigrants came here, they came from Europe, you know,
Mhm. Sure.
and created the what's it called, the different entities in America, like Pennsylvania, German, New England, British, and in English.
Even as late as 80s, the 1980s, there was
Well,
a lot of argument that the United States, America, doesn't even have its own cuisine
Well,
because it was that melting pot.
Well, it didn't. What you said, the American cuisine did not start until the 70s. Before this, it was just what's it called different, and there was the South, there was the North, there was what's it called the different type of
Regional
entities,
cuisine.
or region, and then depended on what's it called who settled there.
Right.
Pennsylvania German, Texas German, Ohio German. I'm just saying.
New England.
New England, what's it
Pretty
called,
clear.
British, the whole thing is this. So that was, but in the 70s it was, and I would say, in the 70s, in 76, we, the American culinary team at the Olympics in Germany at that time, we put American food on our, what's it called, and we made a bronze and tied together with flats, okay. When we came back, you know, what's it called, we went into a lot of what's it called shows like Johnny Carson now, what's it called, and all this type of thing. And we're talking about what's it called, American cuisine. And everybody, when she looked at us, we were idiots. Even Julia Child said when the Queen came to the bicentennial, she said, you cannot give Her Majesty American food because it's crude and doesn't exist. And so what's it happened, see, the ACF, you know, at that time got very upset. See, and well, so what to do? So Kevin White, the mayor of Boston, and Dukakis, the governor of Massachusetts, said to us, cook an American dinner for Her Majesty. So the last luncheon she had before she went to Canada, we cooked an American dinner. We did a cranberry, cold cranberry soup because Nantucket cranberry. We did a poached Maine salmon, what's it called, and with that we had Boston daddies, because Boston, what's it called. We had cucumber, because she liked cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, which are American type of tomato, and we had a little pot of soup, swan, with the horseradish in there because Boston City is the Swan City.
Mm-hmm.
And Helmut Leubel, what's he called, which was a team member, created an American yogurt dessert, yogurt, raspberries, strawberries, and blueberries, red, white, and blue. And we served it to Her Majesty, and it was all over the country that Her Majesty, what's he called, ate 3/4 of the soup. She ate all the fish and all the salads, and the entire dessert. While at all the functions she went there where they gave them the French food, she just take a nibble. Then she had to hold the spoon, because if she put the spoon down, everybody takes the food away.
Oh yeah.
So suddenly, what's it called, the big thing, American cuisine, even Julia
Emerged.
Child changed her thing and she started an American television show, American cuisine, basically, on television. So, but she never made an apology that she said.
No.
But before the whole thing. And so that's where the base started, and then the Institute started the American Bounty. And I have to say this, Larry Forcioni, now you go back, what's it called, he started with the first American restaurant, the American, what's it called, the American something in New York City.
Place.
American Place, right. But he did only American native food, which was not enough really to do that. With the Bounty, it was American ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
what's it called, put together what's it called with the basic fundamentals into a
Beginning the
that's-
celebration of the local harvest.
exactly.
And
That was
that's
the
really
beginning.
the beginning of the
The
farm to
beginning,
table
yeah.
thing here.
The beginning of the farm to table is, and so so the American chef took over what's it called from what it was the European trained chef like I was. And the thing is, and then of course you have the side thing, and I always say very, to everybody, a guild or a association is very important. You need to be, even today, a member of an association. What's it called, like the American Color Federation or any type of what's it called, professional affiliation. In my days, it was more to get a job. In my days, it was more to get information. In my days, it was more to meet people like Noble, for example, a lot of people. So you had somebody to talk to and ask the question.
It was your community.
Yeah, the community. But today, the internet takes over a lot of stuff, you see, but you still need to have somebody that you can lean on, somebody that you can talk to, somebody can ask the question. You know, I mean, I get many questions from students on the email or they call me, blah, 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 okay? And it's the personal thing, see, the experience which you build up can help people then, what's it called, to further them. Give you an example. Many years ago I had a student which graduated, and I always told my students when I was teaching, whenever you leave the institute or the school actually, you go first with a top chef and work a year with a chef, and then you go and make the money. Well, he got a job offered in a catering place in Long Island for $50,000. Now we're now talking about, it was 70, okay?
Good money.
50,000 was a lot of money, okay? And he was there, and about 10 years ago, he comes to me and he says, I lost my job. Well, he still made $50,000, you know. He couldn't find a job because the reputation of the catering was so poor, because he left from the school, and only thing he had the school knowledge, and nobody to talk to, and so what's it called, the food started to slice down.
So no evolution.
Exactly. He stayed, he was dead.
Stagnant.
And so I said to him, I said, well, the only thing I can suggest to you, take a 30-week refresher course, because now he was married, he had 2 kids, his wife had to go back to nursing in order for him to do this. Well, today he has a job in New York City, makes $160,000. What's he called? And he said, you're right, I should have done that, it would have never had. So I said to the young people today, which will make money right away, which I can understand sometimes, but you don't get paid like Noble said, you have to produce.
Well, you know, a lot of times the reason why there's that incentive to make a lot of money right away is because they have a huge debt from the education.
Yes, well, we had the same thing when you think about it. See, I mean, the debt that we had at my times, you know, I mean, was the same. What, in my apprenticeship, I made $10 a week, a month. In the first, and when I was working with Sheridan as an executive chef, I made what's it called, $250, what's it called, a week.
The only thing that's changed
Is
is that the dollar is now worth 10 cents.
Yeah, well,
The debt was the
relative.
same, except that it was smaller numbers, but a dollar was worth $1. I could fill up my car for $2 when I first went
Now
to
you
work.
get half a gallon of gas.
Well, everything has
when I
become more
first went to
expensive,
work
yes.
at the Culinary Institute, and I get students that graduate, and they say to me, Chef, we paid $3,000 for 2 years. I says, yeah, I got $135 a week. I had 2 cars, I had a wife, I had an apartment, I went on vacation, and I ate for
Yeah.
$135 a week. I mean, I wasn't missing anything. I mean, I didn't have a Cadillac, I had a Ford, but I had transportation, I had food. So what's happened is the debt seems enormous because the number is big, but also the debt is caused by the fact that we did with less, and nowadays through marketing and advertising,
It costs more money.
people kind of like feel that they haven't made it unless they have wearing certain clothes, buying certain cars, having
Right.
certain electronics.
Standard living.
So the
The
standard
living standard is higher today.
has helped to push that debt up, but we were happy,
It was a humbler time.
you know, with a car that went.
You know,
You probably weren't really looking so much initially at being the star of the show.
But see, I go one thing back and see is I believe sincerely what counts is today and tomorrow. What's yesterday is nice to have. Yesterday we did different things. Today we do different things again. So the cutting edge that a lot of my colleagues that died in the 70s, they cook like the 70s, you know, nothing wrong with it, but it's not in today. Today we have a different type of food concept. We have a grazing food concept. In New York City, what's it called, where people, they want to be in their little cabin hole, they go outside, but they don't want to be in one place at the same time, so they go to restaurant 1 and they have a little nibble. Restaurant 2, another nibble. By the time they go for 10 restaurants now, they have a full meal, okay? So it's a completely different thing. In my days, well, that didn't exist. You see, people got a full meal. They had a breakfast, they had a lunch.
You didn't go on
and they had a
tour.
dinner. That's right. So a complete change, the whole thing. The global setting wasn't there. Today, at that time, you see, we cooked Bavarian food.
Well, it also takes some affluence to be able to go to 10
that's
different
it.
restaurants in an evening.
Yeah, well, but that's, see, it depends where you grew up, you know. In the country, you have the family restaurant, you know, and so in America, it's a different ballgame than it is in Europe. You know, you have to understand what's it called, who's your clientele, but now with the interaction of the website now and the planes, so you can be 4 hours from now, you can be in Europe, the whole thing is in online. The whole has changed. You see, is in the early days, Americans, they want to have a hamburger and a frankfurter. They want to have a Salisbury steak. They want to have a Yankee pot roast. Okay?
See, hamburger, frankfurter,
That was the main staple of American
doesn't
cuisine.
sound
okay?
like, Salisbury doesn't sound like America.
But now, that was the main staple of American cuisine. Changed, okay? America today, when people went to Hong Kong, somebody came back, they want to have that food on the table, okay?
Right.
And so we as chefs had to change, okay?
We had to become global chefs.
And yes, and more as we go in the next millennium, it's going to be faster and faster, because people, they go, they come back home, and they want to have a certain type of food. They want to have it the way they tasted it in that particular area where they were. So we have to be completely changed. And in the old days, they had time. They sat in the restaurant and they waited. Okay, fine. Today, they go to a restaurant, and 5 minutes later, they want to have the food on the table.
I think too that there was probably the chefs seemed to me in the earlier days to be more philosophical, and then they became just more workhorses, just production chefs, and now it seems like we're re-emerging into a time of the philosophical chef again.
Yeah, it's a big.
And I think what's happening, and the same thing that's happening in the other professions, is that the amount of availability of ingredients and cuisines and what public is demanding is creating situations where you have to now specialize. I think when I started my career, you were all around baker. You did the bread, you did the Danish, you did the cakes, you did the decorating, you did the petit fours, you did the cookies. Then nowadays, the art has become so much more advanced. I'd say not advanced, but more demanding. That decorating, you see it with wedding cakes, has become a separate thing. People just do wedding cakes. They decorate wedding cakes. Bread has become
Specialized.
People just make
Gluten-free.
bread.
Yeah, well, there's another one that didn't
So
exist.
my father
No.
always said to me,
No,
and I
don't.
think it was always
No.
good advice, don't try to sit on two chairs because you fall in the middle. I think what youngsters have to understand is they have to find out for themselves what is their best thing that they want to do. Like Fritz mentioned before, he was a hotel chef. A hotel chef is different than a restaurant
Restaurant chef,
chef.
yeah.
You know, a baker, retail baker is different